What if I told you that motivation is the biggest scam you've been sold? All those videos shouting, you can do it. They're not helping you. They're hooking you. You feel pumped for 5 minutes, then crash right back to zero. Meanwhile, the people selling you motivation are making millions of dollars. Mark Manson and even Charles Bukowski warned us about this trap years ago. So let's talk about how the motivation industry is keeping you stuck and making millions doing it. See, what we call motivation today isn't about helping you change your life. It's a business, a huge one. The global self-improvement market was worth around $45 billion in 2024, and experts say it could reach over $90 billion by 2033. In the US alone, it's a $13 billion industry. Think about that. Billions made from people like us watching motivational videos, buying courses, reading self-help books, and still feeling stuck. Research shows that most of the motivation we get from these sources is extrinsic, meaning it comes from the outside. It's short-term. You feel inspired, but that high dies quickly. Psychologists at the University of Southern California found that external rewards and hype can actually reduce your intrinsic motivation. That's the inner drive that comes from personal goals and values. When you depend too much on outside motivation, your brain stops building its own. It's like using caffeine every day. Eventually, you can't function without it. Another study showed that intrinsic motivation, when you do something because it truly matters to you, accounts for around 45% of performance and long-term satisfaction. In other words, people who find purpose in what they're doing don't need constant motivation. They just do it. And the motivation industry knows this. But they'll never tell you that, because if you stop chasing motivation, they stop making money. Charles Bukowski, the poet and writer, once said, "If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start." That line hits differently when you think about it. He wasn't talking about hyping yourself up every morning. He meant that if you're going to do something meaningful, it's going to be hard, messy, and painful, and you still have to do it. Motivation doesn't survive that kind of reality. Only discipline does. Mark Manson, the author of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, said something similar. He believes that the self-help industry feeds us lies by selling happiness and constant positivity. He calls it the tyranny of positivity. According to him, life is not about staying motivated all the time. It's about choosing what to care about and what to ignore. Because you only have so much energy, and if you give it to every random goal or trend, you end up wasting it on nonsense. He writes, "You must give a damn about something. The question is simply what you choose to give a damn about." That line completely flips the idea of motivation. Instead of trying to stay pumped up about everything, you should focus on what actually matters to you. The motivation industry tells you to feel good all the time. But Manson says you should get comfortable with feeling bad sometimes. That's where real growth happens. Now let's be real for a second. When you watch a motivational reel or listen to a speaker, what you're really getting is a dopamine hit. It feels good for a moment, just like sugar or caffeine. But as soon as the hype wears off, you crash. You start feeling guilty, thinking something's wrong with you for not staying motivated. Then you search for the next motivational video. That's how the system keeps you hooked. It's like emotional junk food. And here's how big that system really is. Every year, around 15,000 self-help books are published in the US alone. The number of life coaches has tripled in the past decade. Companies are literally building empires on our need to feel inspired. They know exactly how human psychology works. They don't want you to take action. They want you to keep coming back for the next hit of hope. But let's talk about what actually works. Studies show that people who rely on discipline and routine instead of motivation achieve better results in the long run. Motivation is great for getting started, but it's like the spark on a matchstick. It burns out fast. Discipline is the fire that keeps going when the spark is gone. If you want to lose weight, build a business, or learn a skill, you don't need motivation every day. You just need a system that keeps you consistent, even when you're not feeling it. Mark Manson talks about this too. He says real happiness doesn't come from chasing constant excitement. It comes from solving meaningful problems. When you focus on purpose, not hype, you stop depending on motivation. That's when things finally start to move. So if motivation is a scam, what's the truth? The truth is, motivation is real, but it's temporary. It's supposed to get you started, not keep you going. The industry turned it into a product, something you think you need to keep buying. But once you realize that motivation isn't magic, you take your power back. You stop being the customer, and you start being the creator. If this made you see things differently, hit subscribe and stick around. We talk real stuff here, not fake motivation.